In this video, we will demonstrate our cloud PDM. It's powered by our partner Bild and is perfect for growing teams or those that want a modern replacement for their legacy on-prem solution. By sharing data bi-directionally between the PDM workgroup and PLM enterprise environments. When you upload your design files, you can click on Show File Info. This is your full data card. There's also a built-in viewer. If you open up this electrical assembly, you can right-click here, see that file in a viewer. You don't need a license to SolidWorks, Creo, NX, or most CAD tools. Automation is built in. I'll show you what that looks like. Let's scroll down into this data card where we will automatically create those relationships on the CAD side. So this sub-assembly rolls up to a higher level assembly here. And then if you view children files, it pulls that CAD BOM structure. These are the immediate children, and that's what will sync to PLM. Now, let's say you want to pull a part number for this. What you would do is right-click here, which opens straight to the integrations, and we can link it to PLM. It starts by recognizing that you don't have a part number. To generate one, you must first select the category, pulling the options from PLM, which controls the part numbering process. These are properties that you would normally fill out in PLM. Clicking on Create makes the call, generates a part number, and then links this design file to that item in PLM that it just created. You can do this in bulk by selecting all of these, and then you can sync. You can see it pulls a part number ME00457. Scrolling down here, you'll see that it's synced to PLM. Clicking on View, it'll open up that item, and there are a couple of different things that you'll see inside here. Of course, you've got your item name, and then if you defined any other information in your workgroup environment, the enterprise has that data synced. You can see that we also push over the thumbnail image, and then if you scroll up into attachments, you'll also see that it'll push over whatever files you have set up. In this case, I can see that there's two attachments. One is the step, and there's that thumbnail. Back in our PDM, we are viewing children files where you will see there's a variety of different fields and parts inside this assembly. If you open up this item, you'll see that when you sync over assemblies, it not only syncs the attachments, metadata, and thumbnail, but also the CAD-Driven BOM, and either creates or updates that for you in PLM. As an engineer, let's say you're working and you add a couple components, then change certain quantities. When you check that back in, it updates the CAD BOM structure. Keeping it synced, that way you don't have to go into PLM and manually scrub every line item. And then if I go inside this BOM, which is the one I was just opening up, you'll see all of those different line items here with the quantities. Even if designers are adding placeholder parts or bulk items, they'll add it as a solid part or even an assembly. When you go into the View Children files, you can decide what gets pushed over to PLM. If you don't want the speaker to get added to my BOM or to get pushed to PLM, you can toggle each BOM item on and off, giving control that also directly from PDM. When it comes to doing change orders and lifecycle management, it's fairly simple. You start by creating a release candidate inside, and then a new change order. You add design files to that change order, and then you link it to a Propel change. As you can see here, I've got a change order. It's linked to a Propel change called Demo 3 Build. If I click on View, it'll open up that change and will show the different affected items. And then if you go to affected items, similar to a BOM, you can also add items that are not controlled by PDM. In this case, we've got this electrical component. Of course, you can just add the design files to this Propel change. But if you were to add consumables and ECAD components, you can obviously do that with this change order as well. The final step is to go through your change order process. When you release the change, Propel makes a callback into the PDM environment to say it has now released the affected items inside this change and to update it with the new revision. You have just experienced a seamless workflow between CAD managed by PDM and PLM pulling part numbers, pushing a BOM structure and design files, and running a change process